And I strongly disagree with the court's decision.
6 justices ruled to end affirmative action, declaring that race can no longer be a factor for college admissions consideration. Police arrested the husband of a woman found dead at Louisville Lake based on evidence they collected after her body was found. And investigators are now looking at millions of dollars in real estate purchases made 2 years ago by impeached Attorney General Ken Paxton. His attorney explains the timing of the transactions.
You're watching Fox 4 News.
A historic ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court today. Hello, I'm Steve Eager. By a clear majority, the U.S. Supreme Court has banned the use of race when determining admission into a college or a university. Institutions of higher learning will have to rethink practices, especially at top schools that are more likely to be considering race. Fox 4's Sean Rabb is in studio tonight with more. Sean.
And Steve, college admissions programs in America will no longer look the same. The ruling seemingly makes it impossible for colleges and universities to take race into account. President Joe Biden, expressing his disappointment, said the Supreme Court has, quote, walked away from decades of precedent. People gather outside the Supreme Court as the landmark decision on 45 years of race as a factor in college admissions comes to an end.
The court has effectively ended affirmative action in college admissions, and I strongly disagree with the court's decision.
The Supreme Court said in a 6-3 ruling, race cannot be a factor in college admissions. Constitutional law attorney David Cole explaining the thinking of Chief Justice John Roberts in writing for the majority.
Chief Justice Roberts said enough. There's never an end. Justice O'Connor famously said about 25 years ago, this should be done in 25 years. It didn't end. The goal is ill-defined. We're just not going to have this anymore. We need to take race off the table.
The ruling overturns lower court decisions that upheld admissions programs at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Harvard against claims the public and private schools discriminated against Asian American and white applicants.
The opinion says is a criticism of what these two universities have done and goes through point by point. The goal is no good, the mechanism is no good, and this isn't going to be the way we do it in this country from now on.
Justice Clarence Thomas, writing separately about the decision, quote, sees the university's admissions policies for what they are: rudderless, race-based preferences designed to ensure a particular racial mix in their entering classes. Thomas and Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who wrote the dissenting opinion, both benefited from affirmative action. Sotomayor saying the ruling rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress.
But we cannot let the decision be a permanent setback for the country. We need to keep an open door of opportunities.
The president wants colleges to consider what a person has had to overcome in life in weighing acceptance, something many admissions offices already do. The ruling's impact limited in Texas by a separate policy that admits the top 10% of graduating high school students to public universities. In the private sector, SMU's president says his school is dedicated to an inclusive student body, faculty, and staff, writing, despite the implications this ruling may have on policies and practices at SMU, we will determine how the specifics of the High Court's ruling will affect the consideration of race in our enrollment efforts. UT Austin also under the microscope. State lawmakers passed legislation this session that protects the flagship university's admission policy, which accepts 75% of new students based on the top 10% rule, but allows 25% of new admissions on other factors, including race. In 2 previous cases, including a UT Austin case, the High Court upheld race-based admissions programs. That was before 3 appointees of President Donald Trump joined the court, tipping the scales to the right. Biden asked about this court as he left his news conference.
Is this a rogue court?
The president pausing as if to measure his response.
This is not a normal court.
And while race will be prohibited from consideration, hopeful students can, in essays, talk about how their life experiences, including race, has shaped who they are. But changes to college admissions.
All right, Sean Rabb in studio. Sean, thank you.
All right.
The Supreme Court also unanimously sided with a Christian mailman in a case against the U.S. Postal Service, solidifying protections for workers who ask for religious accommodations. Justices made clear workers who ask for religious accommodations should get them unless the employer can show that doing so would result in, quote, substantial increased costs to the business. The case before the court involved a Pennsylvania mail carrier who was told he would have to start delivering Amazon packages on Sundays. He declined, saying that Sundays were for church. church and his family. The mail carrier eventually quit and sued for religious discrimination. All right, let's look outside. For most of our area, we're still under a heat advisory today. Temperatures once again above 100. Right now, that temperature says we're right at 100 degrees, but it will turn slightly cooler over the next several days with the chances for rain coming back into the forecast. Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry joining us as temperatures start moving back toward normal. Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Humidity levels, too, have been dropping just a bit. Here's a look out with our Fox 4 views. 101 Lantana, it's 102 Stephenville, 97 degrees at this hour in Dallas. Factor in the humidity and heat indexes all across the area below 110. That's certainly an improvement. Feels like 107 in Fort Worth and Denton, 105 at DFW, and 107 down to our south in Hillsboro. Scorcher scale for tomorrow, we'll see a heat index of about 104 as we head through 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And small rain chances coming our way. We're high and dry across the entire region once again, but a pattern change awaits us, which will favor at least some pop-up showers and thunderstorms once again in our daily forecast. More details on that with a 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, Dan, see you in a bit. Thank you. Police arrested the husband of a woman found dead at Louisville Lake. Carlton Dudley is charged with abuse of a corpse. For now, his wife, Sarah, was found dead near Hidden Cove Park at the lake on Monday. The charge against her husband is based on evidence police say they found after recovering Sarah Dudley's body. Fox 4's Alex Boyer is live with the latest on this case. Alex.
Hey, Steve, that's right. You know, Plano police say it was actually data collected from Carlton Dudley's ankle monitor that led investigators to ultimately charge him with abuse of a corpse, that corpse being his wife. Now, Dudley was wearing that ankle monitor due to an unrelated case out of Frisco, and I'm told that Dudley could face additional charges once that autopsy report is complete. It was in this tranquil body of water at Hidden Cove Park and Marina located in Lake Louisville, where the body of 32-year-old Sarah Dudley, who had been reported missing by her husband last Saturday, was found on Monday.
During the interview with Mr. Dudley, he described an item that was missing from the apartment, which is one of the items that was in the photographs and described by the Colony Police Department that was discovered with the deceased body.
Are you saying what that item is?
No.
Carlton Dudley told Plano police detectives he spent time with his wife early Saturday afternoon before he went to a friend's house to take care of their cat. When he returned home around 4 p.m., Dudley said his wife was gone. He assumed she went to work. So he told investigators he decided to take his kayak to Hidden Cove.
He's claiming that he couldn't get his kayak blown up. It's a soft kayak, and so he just stayed up there at the marina for a while and walked around.
When Sarah's body was found in the water, investigators began looking closely at Carlton and discovered he had to wear an ankle monitor as part of bond conditions for an aggravated sexual assault of a child case out of Frisco. Detectives downloaded the data, and police say they determined Carlton wasn't entirely truthful with them,
showing that he was not just on the shore. He was actually out in the water somewhere.
Detective Jerry Minton says based on the circumstances, there was enough probable cause to arrest Dudley for abuse of a corpse. No history as far as you all are concerned of domestic violence?
Not that I've been made aware of, no, sir.
Detectives, while not saying a whole lot, are clearly building their case and asking the public for their help.
If you actually saw anything, saw something unusual, someone in the water carrying something, just let us know. You know, we're hoping that someone may have seen something, not registering with them at the time, that there may have been something unusual, but now with this story coming out, maybe they can jog their memory.
So again, if you were at Hidden Cove at Lake Louisville on Saturday between the hours roughly of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. and possibly saw something that seemed unusual or have some sort of video related to this case, you are urged to contact the Plano Police Department Crimes Against Persons Unit. I can tell you that Carlton Dudley remains in the Collin County Jail. Back to you.
All right, Lake Louisville, Hidden Cove area. Alex, thank you very much. Investigators are looking into real estate purchases made by impeached Attorney General Ken Paxton. According to the Wall Street Journal, Paxton spent about $3.5 million buying 6 properties in 10 months' time in 2021. They include land purchases in resort areas of Utah and Hawaii, along with 2 houses near Orlando. Bank and trust records on the purchases were ordered by the Texas House Investigations Committee, the same committee that recommended articles of impeachment. Paxton's attorney told the paper his client took advantage of low interest rates at the time to transfer his savings from a brokerage into real estate. Paxton is currently suspended from office, awaiting trial in the state Senate on allegations he abused power and engaged in bribery. A Florida jury acquitted a former sheriff's deputy who had been charged with child neglect and other charges for his actions or inaction during the 2018 Parkland school shooting. Scott Peterson wept as the verdicts were read. The jury deliberated for 19 hours over 4 days. Peterson was charged with failing to confront the shooter during his attack inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on Valentine's Day 2018. 17 people died. Peterson spoke shortly after the not guilty verdict was read.
But I would hope I would never want any any law enforcement officer in this country to go through the last 4.5 years of what I went through.
Peterson took cover outside for 45 minutes behind the school's 3-story main building. Instead of entering, Peterson claimed that because of echoes during the shooting, he could not accurately pinpoint the shooter's location.